Hashtag no music, no intro. Another episode of hashtag Saints for the podcast coming at you. We have made it to week 18. This is the final week of the season. And I kind of want to preemptively, I guess you could say, apologize if at least if myself comes across a little muted in terms of just being animated, because I'll be honest, man. Ever since the Damar Hamlin injury, the Buffalo Bills safety had on Monday Night Football, which was 2 nights ago, I just like it. Just football has not been on my mind, and it like we as a society were very close to seeing a player die on the football field.
On the field, bro.
And everyone's pulling for his recovery and everything like that. But, no one knows what the outcome is going to be, with him long term. And he was a second-year player who made a routine tackle, like a very routine tackle. His heart stops on the field. They give him CPR. They're trying to get his heart started again. They're trying to resuscitate him. And it just put so much into perspective and so much in the context of, one, football aside, like, life is so short. Like, life is so incredibly short. He's 24 years old. Like, he's almost a decade younger than me. Oh, he's a decade younger than me. And, he's living his dream, playing in the NFL, and life is short. And not only is that, in football is such a fucking violent game. It is an incredibly violent game. And it just really made me think, man. And I tweeted this when it happened, just along the sense of, I think we just as a society, football notwithstanding, like, football is not the only way we're desensitized to it, but I'm sure on Sunday when the games restart and the games are being played, like it may be in some people's mind, but like for most people, they'll be like, all right, I want to see what my team is doing today. Like, they're going to win, they're going to not win, they won't get in the playoffs, they will not get, like, and it's just like, shit, like, like, how do we get here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we get here as a society where this 24-year-old who has a family and had a future, his life is completely altered long term because of a routine football play. And it just really made me think about why I, for years, have been okay if college players didn't want to fucking play in a bowl game, or if a college player didn't want to go to the Senior Bowl, or whatever it is, because all it takes is one fucking play and everything's gone forever.
Just like that.
And obviously this is the first, one of the few times where it's like, his life was in danger. But even if a player's life isn't in danger, even if it's something as this player may never play football again, like, if you have someone who, right, or even like going back to, college prospects who have lost out on millions of dollars. Jalen Smith played in the bowl game, Notre Dame.
Delvin Breaux had him on the podcast.
Like, it's just, it's so finite, man. And I know we're going to talk about the Saints. I know we're going to talk about, this game against the Panthers, which, I mean, for the most part, like, it doesn't mean in long term, it doesn't mean anything. But more relative speaking, it does mean something. I guess if you're just thinking of draft position in the pick that can go to the Eagles, whether that's going to be higher or lower, like, we'll talk about that, and that's the point of this preview pod. But like, I just, in good conscience, couldn't just start diving right into football like this isn't a big thing.
Right. No, and I think a lot of people took that approach. Like around the NFL, they didn't do a new episode. A lot of podcasts just, stood pat and all this stuff football. Like they just said, it's just not the time to just talk about football right now. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just let this thing breathe. And of course we're gonna get right back to it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like the whole news cycle or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Trust a day or two from now, like you will not hear anything. I mean, God forbid. I mean, I'm praying nothing happens. He's healthy from here on out and survives and is okay and everything. And if he is, you won't hear nothing about this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like that'll be it.
Me and you, we still bring this up from time to time, because it was such a wild thing about the Vegas shootings when that happened. I mean, that 2019. It's still nuts, bro. Like someone was in a Vegas hotel with like massive fucking assault weapons and was shooting down at people on the Vegas Strip, bro.
I remember waking up and seeing videos of that near that bump stop on that whatever he was shooting at, and it gave me chills, bro. It just happened in Vegas, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we was in Vegas, you know what I'm saying?
The crazy thing is, my supervisor of my job, my boss, had went to Vegas during when that happened, and so when the news came out, everyone in who reports under her were desperately trying to fucking get a hold of her. Of like, are you okay? Like that. It was wild. Anyway, I don't want to go on a tangent. That might be a fucking off-season episode, but just like you said, it's the news cycle. Like that Vegas shooting happened, and it wasn't more than a week and a half, and it was like
moving on.
All right, like
Trump did tweeted something, whatever. We done moved on. It's crazy,
and I know that's what's going to happen with Damar Hamlin, and it may the playoffs starts next week. Like, anyway,
I just think about the players, though, bro. Like, as a football player, seeing like your team that happen to your teammate, like what goes through your mind? You know what I'm saying? And I know these dudes are like the best competitors ever. Like, they all feel like they're superhuman and this and that. But man, that's scary, dog. Like to see that shit on a routine play. It's not like a helmet to helmet or some crazy shit. He just was making a tackle, and just boom for that to happen, bro. Like if I was an NFL player, that shit would have shook the hell out of me. Bro. That's why I was like, thank God they didn't play that game afterwards, man, because that would have been impossible, bro. It would have been impossible to play a game after that. Impossible.
And had it not been for Sean McDermott and Zach Taylor, I know we joke a lot about Zach Taylor. Like the NFL was like, all right, well, y'all got 5 minutes to warm up. And
like, they were just like, no, what? We are not playing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what? There was a point that I was gonna make. I'll say this. I already think this offseason is gonna be crazy enough, and as it is, just in terms of player movement, coaching movement, whatever. But it wouldn't shock me if there's a couple of like completely out of nowhere retirements where a player is like, I'm good. Like I don't know if it's gonna be any like big names, but think about just if we're talking about injuries and scary situations, think about a player like Matthew Stafford or Tua Tagovailoa.
I'm about to say like, Tua really got to think.
Gotta think, bro. Like he's had 3 concussions in one season, Ryan.
One season, bro.
Now, so I think some of that has to be like you got like I don't know for a league that paints this facade of players say like stop it. Roger Goodell in NFL is strictly about making money. Period. It's money related. which is why I'm a little shocked that if you listen into or read Mike Florio's reporting on the situation, it sounds like the rematch between the Bengals and the Bills just won't happen. Like it just will be like as a no contest, which is unprecedented from the NFL. Like
unprecedented.
Does not happen.
NFL played after 9/11, played after
during COVID, no fans in the stand. Like so for a game to have started, or for like games don't get canceled, games don't have no contest. So anyway, that said, Tua has to think about long term. Like 3 concussions like in one season is unimaginable. Like it is, and everyone remembers the first concussion he had when he was woozy walking off the fucking field, and like he got back in that same game. Like, what?
Yeah.
Matt Stafford had concussion and neck issues and spinal issues, back issues. You already got your ring last year, bro. Like, do you really need to come back? But then the difference between him and Tua is that if he doesn't come back, and that's where it becomes a cost-benefit analysis, he's walking away from $68 million, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But I do think that there may be a couple of surprise retirings for players who just feel like it's not worth it. Shout out to Traquan, like, bro, you Traquan had a lot of injuries in his career, bro. Just go ahead, like, go ahead, call it a day. But let's get into the football aspect of it. Let's get into the Saints aspect of it. The Saints and Dennis Allen coaching the Saints, for them to have a record where they end up having 8 wins and 9 losses. Like if that, I mean, I already 99.9% believe DA's back, but if he goes out and he wins this game and the Saints win on Sunday, bro, like, forget about it.
Forget about it. Like I my mentally have already moved on.
Moved on. Yeah.
Okay. What's the best we could do with this situation? That's how I'm looking at it now. Because you're gonna be back, bro. Things are flowery now. 3 wins in a row. Good chance to win going into next, this Sunday. So things are rosy, bro. Things are rosy. It's just somehow how the tables turn that quickly. And, credit where credit's due. The Saints team, they did it. They were able to turn it around and just keep playing football. Because, if you keep playing, you never know. I mean, look at the Steelers, man. The Steelers were looking like dog doo-doo most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And, just
like at one point, they were like top 5 picking in the draft, bro. It was bad.
It was like, damn, are they going to replace Kenny Pickett with a new quarterback? You know what I'm saying? It was like that. But that's like, they just keep playing, keep plugging at it. Now they're still in the hunt for the playoffs. Still can make the playoffs, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But, it just shows you how things can change if you just, buckle down and just keep playing your game. You know what I'm saying? And, try to improve where you can. And, I commend the Saints players at least for, just sticking to it and just trying to get better and get better. They did improve, especially defensively. They did improve as the season went along, as they got healthier. They started tackling better. They started making fewer mistakes. And they started looking like the Saints defense we know. They're like top 5 in sacks. They're one of the better, coverage teams. Even players like Marcus May, I think, before he got injured recently, I think the last 2 weeks he was playing really well. Tyrann Matthew started playing better. Overall, you had your rookies, you had, Alante Taylor, Sean come back, and he's looking good. So, at least you could feel okay about that. Like, okay, this team can still play some defense and play good defense and hold teams down. Offensively, whole different story. Like it's still a mess.
Yes.
They've been able to win games, but man, it's I think they're 24th in points overall this season. 24th in what is it? 24th in like average drives, like what scoring percentage per drive. They're like, it's just they're bottom tier, bro. Like a bottom tier offensive team. Third down, they're like middle of the pack. It's just, offensively, no different than last year. But it just sucks that they did try. Like they tried this year. They went and got Jarvis Landry. They drafted Chris Olave. They put their basket hoping, Mike Thomas will be back. And none of that worked outside of Chris Olave. But those things didn't work. And obviously the quarterback situation wasn't what they hoped it to be. Jameis Winston. I mean, I don't even know what to say about Jameis Winston because he
just got wild, man.
He got injured in week 1. He had a nice, comeback drive to win the game. Then after that, it was just dumpster fire after that. And he wound up playing too much. They put him in a game when he shouldn't have. And so I really don't know what to say about him. I mean, I don't know if he should come back, if he wants to come back. I don't know. But, Dalton, he held it down. He's been efficient for the most part. He's been solid, just doing what he needed to do. They mix it up with Taysom Hill. So, it was good enough. But, there's still a lot of questions, like with Alvin Kamara, his usage, the overall game plans that they did offensively, using the weapons that you have, exploiting them to the maximum ability, coming up with different plays and, things to exploit coverages and matchups. A lot of questions offensively.
All right. There are a lot of questions offensively. I think D on Twitter really asked a great question. I think it was this morning, or when I checked my phone this morning, it was like one of the first things I saw, and a lot of people responded to it. But basically, it was just asking, aside from firing coaches, what's like the one move you want the Saints to do in free agency? Which I think it's an absolutely great question. That we'll save that for the offseason because we could have a whole podcast about it. I do think defensively, it did improve. But as you tweeted today, there are so many questions on both the trenches on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. Someone tweeted on Twitter today, I wish I could give the person the credit and give their but basically said that headed into week 18, Marcus Davenport has a half a sack this season.
Half a sack, bro. Not even a whole sack. He couldn't even get 2 half a sacks to add him up. Like, you know how easy a half a sack is, bro? You just gotta be there, pretty much. You just gotta be there doing the sack.
And then another person on Twitter quote tweeted that tweet. He's Jason on Twitter, and basically said Marcus Davenport gave up half a pinky to get half a sack. That's cool. The Saints cannot go even further with the sunken fallacy that they already had with Marcus Davenport. They can't do it, bro. They can't do it, man. Like, if they choose to bring him back because they're like, oh, we don't know who else is out there, so we might as well stay with what we know. Like, to me, if you're gonna spend the money on adding a pass rusher, adding an edge, just go get a different edge. Like, I'm not saying that edge is going to work out because that pass rusher may not work out, but we already know what you have in this motherfucker. Like, it is known. Like, I know Sherm. Shout out to our dude Sherm. We be watching games. Like, we were watching the game when the one that you got came in late on, and like just watching Marcus Davenport play football when at least this season has been such a fucking maddening experience, bro. Because like he does the same fucking thing every time. Gets that like ball snapped. He's coming for the ball. He's pass rushing, but he doesn't have any explosiveness off the edge. And then he gets engaged with the tackle, and there's no move. There's no
nothing.
just shut up every.
Just a little wrestling match. Just like
every time, right?
Get knocked on the ground by running backs.
But they do have questions on both sides of the ball. And I wanted to stay with that and say, can we, and I said this a little bit on the recap pod, but I want to emphasize it. You, as an organization, now you may have not planned it this way because, I mean, obviously you don't know who you're going to draft ahead of time because you don't know who's going to be there. But to call it like it is, you, as an organization, gave up a pick that's either going to either end up being, I think the range it could end up being is like 9 to maybe like, I don't know, 14 or 15, depending on whatever outcomes of Sunday's games. On a left tackle, and your offensive line is decimated, bro, like all across the board. If you are not inserting Trevor Penning into play, even just to get reps and experience and real time game snaps, like, yeah, he might get matched up against Brian Burns here and there, but you know what? Like, you draft him in the first round, and I'm assuming you envision him as a starter, so might as well let him block that type of player and get accustomed to it. Like that, and I don't know, and I'm saying this because we don't know if he's going to play. He's going to be starting on Sunday, but like if he's not starting on Sunday, like that's an indictment of a lot of things to me.
Yeah, no question.
Especially when you consider that a quarterback was taking a pick after him, and that rookie quarterback has steadily improved as the season has gone on. Like, right. Then it looks bad.
No question. And then, in retrospect, James Hurst did fine this year. You know what I'm saying? You had a bunch of players rotated over there, but they did okay.
I said it. I was saying it all season, Ryan. Like I said it all. I say, bro. And I said this when the draft was leading up to it. I said, bro, they don't need to go do anything super crazy to get a left tackle. If they want a left tackle, get one in the second round, or or get one in the third round. But like, I never saw because we saw what James Hurst could do last season when Teron got hurt and didn't play for such a long time. Like, are you looking at James Hurst and he's the guy at left tackle? No. And there's been plays, especially this season, where like you're like, ooh, James, but like that hasn't been the norm, like, right, I would say, right? So I don't know, man. And it goes back to the whole thing of like, are you not able to scout yourself as like self-scout yourself? Like that you felt the need that you had to draft a left tackle from a small school in the first round. So I'm just saying, like, Trevor Penning needs to be starting on Sunday. If like James Hurst,
like me, I would go as young as I can on Sunday. Like, I want to see what I got in these young players. I want Alante out there. I want Penning out there. Whoever, Lucas Kroll, just any young player I could get my eyes on to see what I got on this roster. That's who will be out there, man. Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't try to win, but man, I even holler at James, like, how you feel, James? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to know these things. You know what I'm saying? It's like not in the playoffs. So it's like these things I got to know.
And there's only like nothing replicates game speed and game experience except an actual game.
Right. Like you got to know if Penny's going to be your starting left tackle.
You got to know, bruh. You got to know. Or at least you got to get, or even, he has to be to some degree, right? But like, even if he's quote unquote not ready, he doesn't have a great game, at least you have things that you can start coaching him up on leading up to next season. Like it's a very simple concept. What are your, I guess, thoughts in terms of matchups going against the Panthers?
I don't have any, bro. I have not thought about this game at all. Like, I mean, I guess Sam Darnold's gonna start again. He's pretty good, bro. He gonna revitalize his career just that quick, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just some of this thing about I've been thinking about a lot about quarterbacks, and it's just unfortunate. Sean Payton talked about this a lot with the way the new CBA. Well, I would say the new CBA, the CBA that came out in 2012 or 11. Yeah, the one they did that, where it completely changed the amount of time coaches can spend with players in the off season, which I completely understand. Like, players fight for everything you need. I completely understand that. But Sean Payton always griped about the amount of time they can't spend with these young quarterbacks. You know, they just can't do it. Like, not physically, and by regulation, they can't work with these quarterbacks all off season and, you know, really fine tuning what they need to do. And I think you see with a lot of these, especially young quarterbacks. I mean, Sam Darnold was like 20 when he came into the league. Man. Damn near just not even 21 yet. Same we see with Zach Wilson. He's super young. A lot of these players are super young, and you know, some of them it just might take time, bro. Not saying that they might be great if you give them the time, they'll turn into elite quarterbacks. No, maybe they'll never be elite quarterbacks. But some of these guys, man, it just take time and development and a lot of work to get to the point to be good. I'm not saying Sam Darnold is going to be good. It's just something I've been watching with. It's like just like everything else, how we expect immediate results. It's like we say the same thing with quarterbacks. It's like they was already ready to get rid of Kenny Pickett after like 3 games, and he threw a couple picks. It's like
they was ready to draft the quarterback of the future in top 5, bro. Like they was done.
It's done. Like let me just look at this. This is one of the hardest positions in sports, in all of sports. It's like it just takes time. Not everybody gonna hit the ground running like Patrick Mahomes. And even he took a year, to come in, sit behind on the bench or whatever. Not everybody's going to hit the ground running, man. So,
I think you made a great point with the CBA, because I know, excuse me, I know that's a great point by Sean, and it kind of made me think about, I was in elementary school for the longest, in elementary school, straight A student, big nerd, on a roll. And I'll never forget going to junior high. No, sorry. No, this wasn't junior high. This was junior high, and then I went to high school. And I'll never forget, I took pre-AP algebra. And that shit was painful, bruh. And it's kind of like these quarterbacks from high school, flag football, high school, college have been the guy, like the man. And then you get to the NFL, it's not the same. And like for me, I felt the same thing, like in an academic sense, where like school came so easy to me, like almost for so long. And I went to high school, and I'm in this class, and I'm like, oh, am I dumb? Like,
right.
And the class was so hard, or the class was hard enough that for me to be able to understand it. And keep in mind, this is how hard the class was. I wasn't the only person that did this. She had probably a room full of students every morning, including me, going into school before the bell rang, and getting one-on-one time, coaching, help with our homework, for us to understand the concepts of how to do whatever this algebraic equation was, or some shit like that. Right. It was a really it was. And so just using the same example is bro, you a quarterback, and you, even though you've been the man and the guy so long, bro, you go in the NFL and you trying to read an NFL defense, and players move way faster than you've ever experienced before. It's like, I don't fucking know. Like, so that's why, which I think the point you were alluding to and Sean was saying is that, and for sure, I think it's a lot helpful if you have a coach that's an offensive genius or whoever, of just being able to like break down coverages or break down a play concept of, this is your primary read, but if you hit the last step of your drop and he's covered, boom, boom, boom. This is where you think like very remedial things, right?
Or just calling a play. Like
that's it, bro.
College quarterbacks don't call plays. They've never done it. They sit, they stand back there, they look at the card on the sideline, and then they run the play. Period. Like you have to go in there with auto and say, QX 459 double flat C. You know what I'm saying? You have to get that out, read the coverage, and
Did you say double flaxseed?
Double flaxseed. Just making up shit. Like, but it's like you got to do all of that, and you have to read the defense, set your offense up. Oh, and a lot of these quarterbacks never took the ball from center, never got a snap from center. So now they got to do the snap from center, do some play action, turn it back to the defense. When they turn it back, when they looked at the snap and what they looked at, it's gone. It's completely different. It's completely. You saw cover 2, now it's cover 3. Like, I can't even grapple with it, bro. Like, I can't even grapple with it. I love football. So imagine like these dudes, bro. It's crazy.
And that's why someone like fucking Chase Daniel, the bag legend, like, because like it's like if everyone could do what quarterbacks could do, like everyone would do it and they wouldn't get paid as much as they do. Exactly. But like that's not the way that that's just why the whole argument when people start talking about football players shouldn't get paid as much as they do and blah, blah, I'm like, shut up. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. No idea.
None.
Like, I don't think you understand how fucking supply and demand fucking.
That's all it is. Straight supply and demand. Not many out there, man. Not many out there.
So getting to this Panthers game, it is interesting of how Sam Darnold has looked good again, bruh. And I've said some things this season where I don't think I'd ever say, bro. Like I said, this is early in the season before he like really started cooking. But I was like, man, like, is there maybe a way the Saints could get Jared Goff? Like, this nigga, I'm thirsty, bro. Like, I need a quarterback in this bitch. Now that's completely gone, bro. And I know Lions fans are like, they want to like trade up and go, man, like. That's that whole devil you know, devil you don't know thing, bro. And then if you bring in a young quarterback like CJ Stroud, but Ben Johnson goes somewhere else and he's a head coach somewhere, and he was like the rest of like,
man,
gotta be careful, bro.
Boy, I'm gonna be jealous as hell. Ben Johnson goes somewhere, bro. I'm gonna be jealous, boy.
Jealous, Ryan.
Hey,
jealous.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, bro. Like, one thing I did see, in that Tampa game, bro, like Brady was getting behind that defense, man. So I know the Saints offense ain't as potent, but man, if they could take advantage of some of those coverages, get Raheem Shaheed on the back end or something like that, man. Let's get some stats, man. Let's stat chase shit, man. Let's get some stats for Chris Olave, who, most likely won't make Offensive Player of the Year, but shoot, let's just make it competitive. Let's get Shaheed a little bonus or something, man. Maybe he can get a little roster bonus, a little stat bonus or something. You know what I'm saying? Let's do something, man. Let's just make it fun. Go out this season fun, having a good time on a positive note. No, it ain't perfect. No, we're not going to the playoffs. No, we're not going to the Super Bowl. But, at least go away feeling like, okay, my team won. Let's get on with the whole season and see what happens.
When it's time for an adventure on the open highway, one quick call to American Family Insurance gets you headed in the right direction. Our Travel Peace of Mind package is there if you encounter a bump in the road. From roadside assistance to rental car coverage, we have you covered. Find a local agent or get a quote at amfam.com.
American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Completely. You have my mic muted.
Okay.
If it was me, I would think about sitting AK.
Mm-hmm.
I would sit some players who I think is vital to the future.
Yeah.
You know, because the absolute worst thing is a player suffering an injury in the last game of the season, and now they aren't able to play, you know, half or most of next season, which is why I think the decision that the Bears pretty much are treating it like a fucking preseason game. I also think that has something to do with draft implications because they're picking like number 2 in the draft right now. Like, they ain't slick. But, like, to that point, like, I wouldn't fucking be playing Justin Fields in week 18. Like, for what? Why? Like, that's my franchise right there. Like, why am I like? So, but I do worry, like, in terms of just X's and O's, if the offensive line is banged up as it is or has been. Hopefully they have a plan in terms of Brian Burns, because we've seen firsthand what Brian Burns have done against the Saints. I'll never forget that Drew Brees hit, bro, when that backup left tackle was in that
green leaf.
Yeah, that's who it was. The Green Book. So they have to have an answer for Brian Burns. I'm assuming Marshawn Lattimore is going to play, and he typically does a good job of. But I wouldn't play him, bro.
I wouldn't play him, bro.
I wouldn't play him, bro.
I've seen enough. Him, bro. Like, you know.
I would have Chris Harris, Bradley Roby, and Alante out there because Adebo pretty much said he ain't playing on Sunday.
He didn't play. He got the hammy, man. Like, it was a bad second season for Adebo.
It was, man. It really, really was. I don't think it's how I word this. I don't think it's bad to the point where like you trying to cut bait this offseason or for him like that.
No.
Right.
Just kind of disappointing because he was so hyped in the offseason. Like, he was training camp, but Debo just shut down everybody.
And the way he ascended and got better throughout his rookie season.
Exactly.
Like, it was like, oh shit, like but I do think, like, this goes back to coaching. You got to figure out a way that he can play the slot. Like, you got to put your best cover corners on the field at the same time. Anything else I wanted to hit on? I'm pretty sure Caden Ellis is probably close to hitting some incentives. And I said, like you said, can the team show us that they prioritize their own talent? Like, be a serious organization and bring back Caden Ellis and Juwan Johnson. Like, yeah, you can, like, if you tender Juwan Johnson at the lowest tender possible, tells me everything I need to know, bro. Tells me everything I need to know.
Because it's like, what's the point? You know you're not getting a pick for him. You know, like, it's just do what you got to do. Tender him at a high level. Pay it a couple of $1 million, whatever it is. Or give him a contract, man. I'm sure, man, look, all them TikToks, that dude want him a little contract, bro. Even if it's just like a little 2-3 year contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, pay the man. You sat there and developed him, took him as a UDFA wide receiver, worked with him, you know, as a wide receiver, worked with him as a tight end, and now you seeing you're getting back what you put in.
Yeah, the fruits of your labor, bro.
The fruits of your labor, yeah. Like, there you go. Like, that's how it's supposed to work. That's how this whole thing is supposed to work.
Caden Ellis is the same thing, bro. Like, the same thing. Like, you drafted him like way later in the draft in most rounds where there's not a lot of hits historically, and now his play since he has gotten in the starting lineup when Pete Warner got hurt has been stellar. Like some of the best linebacker pass rushing play, like stellar, bro. Stellar.
I mean, and his pass rush has been like crucial too.
This man has 7 sacks and he started like mid-season.
Unbelievable.
Mid-season.
Unbelievable.
It is. I think I'm trying to think anything else from the game that I'm interested to see. It would, and I don't expect this to be a big game for him because I know he was active last week and I saw him in the game like a handful of times, but I think that was still working back from the injury thing. But it would be nice to see Peyton Turner just do a little something in this game. Don't gotta be a lot. Can we all? Speaking of that whole Marcus Davenport having a half sack, Peyton Turner has more sacks this season than fucking Marcus Davenport has, bro. Get this man out of my face, bro.
What?
Peyton Turner has 3 sacks this season, and Marcus Davenport has a half. A half, Ryan.
Bruh, like that is...
If that's not... Wow. If that's not a telling indictment of how badly Marcus Davenport has played all season, I don't... And not even to go back, and get the whole thing started again, but they could have gotten maybe a second, if not a third, for Marcus Davenport at the trade deadline, bruh.
Oh,
can't stand this.
I can't.
Can't stand this team sometimes, bro.
But wasn't he coming off like that one good game that he had?
No, that was Peyton Turner. That wasn't even. Oh, he did that hit on Devontae Adams that game.
That was it. That's all they needed.
What? We can win the NFC South? No, Los Angeles. I don't want a second rounder from you. We got a playoff push. This nigga out my face, bro. What about my face? And now this man probably is going to leave as a free agent. You ain't going to get shit from. Like, think about how just differently we would think about this draft if they had two seconds, and it would be a high second if it was from the Rams too, because they've been shitty boo boo. 2 seconds, and maybe been able to recoup a first for Sean Payton. Then you like, oh shit.
Man, I might be trying to get them Senior Bowl credentials, boy.
What? A first and 2 seconds?
Well, I'd be excited.
That's what I'm saying. But we got one. We might get a first for Sean, but who knows? But we got like 1 second. So I really hope this offseason or whatever, whatever the mechanism is of how this team chooses to self-scout itself, like, I don't know if that's getting another voice in the office that is not a yes man and is not like, this has been the status quo. This, like, we run the show. We all make the.
I would so do that, bro. Like, if I was a team, I would bring in somebody that just got fired from another team or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
And, like, look, evaluate my roster. Like, grade my roster realistically. And I just want to see what somebody else thinks. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that doesn't have any bias.
That's it. Like, even if you're not hiring this person, like, to come to be in the front office, like, and I'm sure this can't happen, but whatever. Have them come in as a consultant and pay them a fee for like, just giving the opinion on your roster. But, and this is, the Saints aren't just victims of this. This happens in business all the time. This happens in just in teams all the time, where all sporting teams, you just need a different voice in the room sometimes. But we shall see how the season ends. We are having the end of the season last Zoom. So that's happening on Sunday. Please, if you've been coming to them, please come to the last one. If you've never come to one and you are a Patreon, please come just to finish out the season. We are having the raffle. I'm going to be doing the drawing probably tomorrow morning to whoever won the 2 tickets
Like two people.
It's like three, bruh.
Oh, three.
Yeah, fucking three. Big fucking pool we have. But anyway, shout out to people who entered the raffle. If you enter, you'll be in. And then I'm gonna do the drawing tomorrow morning to see who wins. But just as the season closes out, thank everyone for the support. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for being a part of the season that, it may end on a decent note and it may end on a 4-game win streak, but we certainly know that it was dark and grim as fuck for a while in this bitch. But thank y'all for the support. Happy New Year to all our listeners and everyone. And if you're a Patreon, be there on Sunday for the Zoom. We're gonna have it live streaming on YouTube as always. Yeah. And with that, we will be back on Sunday to recap the game against the Panthers. With that, we're out.
Peace.
Start a journey, not a fad. Kick off your fitness journey with up to $500 off Peloton Bike, Bike Plus, or Tread packages. Choose the package that will take your training to the next level with accessories like our cycling shoes, heart rate band, non-slip grip dumbbells, and more. Join now and you'll see why 92% of households that start the year with Peloton are still active a year later. All access membership separate. Offer ends January 8th, 2023. Excludes Bike, Bike Plus, and Tread Basics. See additional terms at onepeloton.com.